Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the special board meeting of the Santa Cruz County Board of Education on today, September 4th, with a roll call, please.
Trustee Acosta? Trustee Larson?
Present.
Trustee Raw?
Here.
Trustee Van Allen?
Here.
Vice President Williams?
Here.
President Sanchez?
Here. Thank you. Did we get any requests for board members to attend remotely?
There have been no requests, President Sanchez.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask those who can to please rise and join us as our superintendent leads us on Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, I'm looking for an approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. We had a first from Van Allen. He beat you to it, sorry.
All right, first.
And
Can I second it?
a second from Williams, so.
Maybe I can sit closer to you.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. Next, we have public comments, and because this is a special meeting, it's a little bit different. So this is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the agenda. And I will recognize those who will want to speak to our item, which is the filling of the student trustee, to step up, identify yourself, and to limit your speaking to 2 minutes. Is there somebody that would like to address the board on this matter? Okay. Seeing none, moving on to new business, we have 5.1, the filling of a student trustee vacancy on the Santa Cruz County Board of Education. So we are very fortunate in that we have student trustees that help us out, that are joining us on the board to be able to express themselves, any issues, any concerns, any ideas that they might have. This is something that we started a couple of years ago, and it's been growing and expanding to the point where we are today, where we have 2 student trustees. So very excited to be able to do that today and to go through the interview process. So what I would like to do is to explain how tonight's interview process will go so that we're all informed and know what to expect. Each student will be interviewed individually, and we have 10 minutes to answer 4 questions that were provided in advance. The students will be interviewed one at a time in random order. When not being interviewed, students will then be asked to exit the board meeting and remain in the bay room with our student leadership and engagement coordinator, Andres Ortiz. Students will be called in one at a time for their interviews. Blank worksheets have been provided to board members to capture notes during each interview. And please note that there is no scoring rubric. These notes are for your personal reference and will be collected for record keeping. For each student, beginning with myself, each trustee, followed by Superintendent Sabah, will ask one of the 4 questions. The order will proceed counterclockwise around the dais. And we kindly ask all students to keep their answers concise so we can stay within the time allotted. Again, everybody's going to have 10 minutes to answer those 4 questions. Any questions, any concerns? Clear? Perfect. Sounds good. So that was the process of 5.1. So now we're moving on to 5.2, which is the conducting of the interviews. So at this time, we will begin the interview process, and we ask our first student to please come forward and join us at the table. The remaining students may step out with Mr. Ortiz and will be called in one at a time. Thank you. And the first student is Amy. And trustees, we all have our questions, right? second page of the packet. Okay,
Packet page 19.
Thank you.
welcome, Amy. All right, we'll start with question number 1. Please tell us why you are interested in serving as a student trustee on the County Board of Education, and briefly describe your background and experience in education and student advocacy.
Yes, the reason onto why I'm interested in serving as student trustee on the County Board of Education is due to the fact that a lot of what is being told is done is not being done. And I believe that we should have a say in this and create a safe environment where students can come and learn. Through all my experiences in high school, I've come to recognize the significance of voice, both my own and that of others. This has taken time and years for me to realize, but I've ultimately realized how much potential we have towards using our voices to make positive changes. I firmly believe that students should have a strong role in decisions that directly impact them. They should be able to have a say in what is going on in schools. Throughout my middle school years, I was never much of a talker. I never thought my voice mattered. I always thought that I was looked down upon. And it was difficult for me to discuss with other people. It wasn't until the end of my 8th grade year, when I got enrolled in student government, that I began to realize how much my experiences that I've been in were shaping me into who I am today. I started learning as time passed by, having all these leadership roles, and so on and so on. These things shaped me into who I am today, but these titles aren't what mostly has affected me. It's the impact that it has done to my community that I mostly like, because these impacts are way more than just the titles that I've received. And I'd like to continue doing what I do with the help of my community.
Thank you.
I have the next question. Please provide an example of a specific initiative or project you would like to work on as a student trustee and why it is important to you.
If I were able to get the opportunity as a student trustee, one initiative I would like to pursue is creating a structured platform for student advocacy. This platform would allow students to regularly share their concerns, ideas, and potential solutions with school leaders. Too often, students feel as if their voices do not have an impact and that they're not being heard, but in reality, their perspectives are powerful and can significantly influence better policies within the county. I propose establishing regular student forums or sessions where students from various schools can come together to discuss the issues that matter most to them, stuff that they have collected around schools that they've been holding on to, stuff that are affecting students around schools, whether it's mental health support, equity and resources, or fostering a more inclusive environment. By ensuring these voices are heard at the board level, we can help students understand that they're not just participants in their education, but also key decision makers in shaping it. This initiative is important to me because advocacy is not just about speaking up, it's about creating real change. And the students deserve to know that their voices are being valued. They should not have to be looked down upon just because of their age or their background. We need to focus on students and show them that their voices do matter.
Thank you. Ralph?
Hi, welcome. Can you share an example of a challenging situation that you have faced in a leadership role, and how did you handle it?
So I had received the class president role at my school, and I promised to make an impact where all the students could and would be heard, but I had realized I wasn't doing what I had promised due to the limited resources I had. I realized I had to take matters into my own hands. It took me days to even find the resources that could have saved a person's life when they could have needed it the most. This made me furious. I had spoken to staff and we had all come to an agreement that we need to have more discussions towards our school resources, because it shouldn't have to take me meetings after meetings talking with multiple staff about all these things. I should just have handed them to me. And if we only have two mental health counselors and we can only meet 3 times a year, and there's people that actually need to talk to them, I feel I felt as if I needed to discuss with someone about this immediately. And it took me sometimes talking with staff, but I realized that these things need to be promoted and being told out loud where students can actually see them and get the help that they need. Because students, they need to be told that they matter, be told that their voices do matter, and they're not just a regular person in school, that they can learn what they want to learn.
Thank you. And the last question, we have Larson.
Thank you very much. How would you gather, excuse me, how would you gather input and feedback from your fellow students to ensure their voices are represented on the board, in particular, students who are currently underrepresented?
I would gather information and feedback by actually being able to take time for them, to speak to them face to face. And I know that a lot of students have trouble in using their voices. That's why I'll also be able to give anonymous forms for people who struggle using their voice. I can also try to communicate with different organizations who might be educated in student communication. And I feel as if I will ensure them that they're not being judged and that their feedback matters. I understand that not everyone might be comfortable with speaking their mind, and that's okay. But then one thing I will not do is judge them for speaking up. I will also make sure that whatever they're being told is being heard. Because a lot of times those forms that we're being told to fill out, none of those goes into consideration. I filled out forms. None of those have been reached out. I haven't been reached out. Those things like that, a lot of those things get overlooked. And I feel as if those things should be read upon. Those should be brought up. Those are things that truly matter. I want to make people feel heard. And even if that means I have to do more skits, more plays about how the student voice does matter, I will do so. I've done that, and I know from all my experiences that I can and will listen to other people, because I know that their voices do matter, and it's not just one person's voice who matters, it's the whole entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we have gone through the 4 questions that we have for the interview process. I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. We ask that you please join the others while we interview the second candidate, who is Americo. Our second candidate.
Thank you.
You. The second candidate is Americo. Yes, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so we're gonna start we have 4 questions that we're gonna go through. I'm gonna ask Trustee Acosta, if you can start with the first question, please.
Yeah, good evening, Americo. So first question is, please tell us why you're interested in serving as a student trustee on the County Board of Education. And briefly describe your background and experience in education and student advocacy.
Yeah, so first I'd like to just formally introduce myself. My name is Americo Castillo. I'm a junior at SoCal High School and I'm 16 years old. So the reason I want to serve as student trustee at the county board is because I believe that every student deserves the opportunity of a successful education. And I believe that in order to reach my goals that I have for those students, I can, the county board level will allow me to do the biggest impact. And my goals are to create equity, accessibility, and representation among all students. And as for my educational background, I'm a strong student academically, and I take numerous AP courses in dual enrollment. I'm an avid student, which means that I have a class that focuses on college readiness. And for extracurriculars, I am involved in robotics. I'm a treasurer for the computer science and velocity club, and I'm also a varsity tennis player. I volunteered as a science camp mentor for fifth graders, and I believe because of all of these things, I know how to collaborate with a diverse group amount of students. But I think my most important leadership background is my parts of learning how to advocate with Usher syndrome. Usher syndrome is the leading cause of deaf blindness, and it causes me to progressively lose my peripheral vision. And this has inspired me to speak not just for myself, but also for students whose needs aren't always visual or visible. And I believe that this creates a unique aspect or perspective for this role. And in closing, my goal as a student trustee is to make sure that every student, seen or unseen, heard or unheard, has a voice on the table.
Thank you. Van Allen.
Could you provide an example of a specific initiative or project that you would like to work on as a student trustee and why it is important to you?
Yeah, so I would like to launch an initiative for improving awareness of access and accommodations for students. Like I've mentioned before, I have Usher syndrome, and so that causes me to have visual challenges in my day-to-day life, and especially in education. And so because of this experience and advocating for myself every single day, it's inspired me to advocate for others who need accommodations in order to succeed. And so as student trustee, I would work for an increase of awareness for student accommodations. And I would want to advocate for better support and resources for these students in order to have equal access to education. I would work with schools to ensure that students understand their rights for these accommodations, and also for staff to have accessible practices. I'm motivated for this because I've experienced these challenges firsthand and understand how challenging it can be to pursue these accommodations. Ultimately, I want to make sure that every student can thrive regardless of their circumstances.
Thank you. Williams.
Thank you for your interest. Their question is, can you share an example of challenging situation you faced in a leadership role and how did you handle it?
So one challenging role that I had was during my freshman year. I volunteered at the science camp for fifth graders. And at the science camp, I overlooked 5 to 6 fifth graders throughout each day. And my goals going into this were to have the students have an engaged, supported, and fun experience. And this was a challenging role because I was completely new to this and I didn't have any background experience. And so this position required lots of responsibility throughout the week. And throughout the week, there was multiple challenges, and students struggles with they struggled with participating and conflicts with other students. And how I was able to handle these situations is I would take them aside and I would talk to them one-on-one and learn how I can adjust the environment in order to make the situations be more handled. And I would also coordinate with other mentors and understand how we can adjust the environment in order to make it more fun and safe. By the end of this experience, it brought me many new skills, the importance of patience, communication, but especially the skill of adapting to individual needs. And through all these skills, I hope to bring to the student trustee role.
Thank you. The last question, how would you gather input and feedback from your fellow students to ensure their voices are represented on the board, in particular students who are currently underrepresented?
So in order to do that, I would ensure that all voices are represented, of course, and I would use a variety of methods. So for one, I would collaborate with cultural clubs, for example, the Asian or Black Student Union, also the Multicultural Club. And I would create a digital form for all students to put their input and be able to remain anonymous. My goal wouldn't be just to get feedback, but to ensure all voices directly influence decision-making. I would connect with student organizations across the entirety of campus, and I would focus on, and once I would get all this feedback, I would connect with the board and learn how we can alter and make, in order to ensure that their input is gathered. Ultimately, I hope to bridge the gap between the decision-making process so that every voice can contribute to shaping an equitable education policies.
Thank you. And with that, we've reached the last question of the interview process. Again, thank you for taking the time to join us and apply and interview for the position. You may join the other students while we ask the next candidate to.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And the next student we will be interviewing is Ash.
I'm using this iPad for my notes.
Okay, welcome. We'll start the questioning with Dr. Silver.
Good evening, welcome. Please tell us why you're interested in serving. Please tell us why you are interested in serving as a student trustee on the County Board of Education, and briefly describe your background and experience in education and student advocacy.
I want to be a student trustee because I have had the experience of like difficulties in the school system and like feeling like there wasn't a way to speak up or like, I don't know, get help. And I want to be the voice for the people that like are in minorities and aren't able to like, or don't know about any of this stuff. Yeah. Or here's what I wrote. That's started off bad. I wish to become a student trustee on the Santa Cruz County Board of Education because I know what it's like to experience difficulty in school due to factors that are out of my control. Education is a vital part of life that everyone deserves access to. And people who are part of minorities are historically disadvantaged when it comes to receiving education. I want to use the position of student trustee to sort of elevate their voices and make it so everyone is heard. Yeah. And then my history with leadership, I don't know if I have like the most amount of leadership, but I have been like a cabin leader at the Santa Cruz County Outdoor Science Schools, and I've done a couple other things like that.
Thank you. Trustee Rob.
Okay. Please provide an example, excuse me, please provide an example of a specific initiative or project you would like to work on as a student trustee and why it is important to you.
So I am currently already sort of working on that with Mr. Fares Sabah. It is a website that will have like information on the student trustees and ability to contact them for telling them about like, oh, this is how I want you to vote, this is the difficulties that are going on right now. And then it'll have information about the school board, like what it is, what it does, and the meetings that are coming up, explanations about the different agenda items, you know, and then it'll have the opportunity for them to give me feedback on how they would want me to vote, you know, or what they would maybe want me to bring up to the board for things that need to change, you know. And then it will also have a bunch of resources on it, because I found that like when I started alternative education, all these resources were being given to me, things I didn't even know about, and they're available to everyone out there. And I think there's a lot of people that are struggling or need something that they don't even know is there, you know? And this will be there for the students to, you know, have and get what they need, you know?
Thank you. Larson?
Can you share an example of a challenging situation you faced in a leadership role and how you handled it?
I would say the difficulty was when I was a cabin leader, I was in charge of a group of 10 fifth and sixth grade boys who were very excited about it being there, you know, but they didn't really have the sort of safety on the mind. So they were having a lot of fun, like trying to balance on the edges of the hiking trail that had like a 30-foot drop, or they like to throw sticks and rocks. And I had to be the like one that's like, okay, can we please not do that? You know, and something that I really value is like effective communication. I know about the like different communication styles, and I never want to be the person to like raise my voice or have anything like emotions impact the way that I am speaking with someone, because I want to get through to them, you know. And so I'd always like keep my voice steady and kind of like give them the chance to calm down, and then talk things out with them about like why it's dangerous and what could happen.
Thank you. And for the last question, we have Acosta.
Yes. Good evening, Ash. So the question is, how would you gather input and feedback from your fellow students to ensure their voices are represented and on the board, and in particular, students who are currently underrepresented?
It's really important to me that people who are like part of minorities get their voices heard, because there's a lot of like research that goes into, they are often the ones that are left behind in like schooling, like especially those who are LGBTQIA plus, like from foster care. They always have like less sort of success rates in completing school and going on to like college, as well as like many other minorities. And I would use that platform of like the student trustee website to hear back from them on not only the board meeting information, but have them like be able to contact me of like things that are going on. And I also hope to go to school to schools to talk to them like in person.
Thank you. So with that, that fourth question, that is the end of the interview process. We want to thank you again for taking the time to come and to interview for the position.
Thank you.
You may join the other students while we bring the next interviewee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next student that we will be interviewing is Zola. Welcome.
Hi.
We're going to start the questions with trustee Van Allen.
Welcome. Please tell us why you're interested in serving as a student trustee on the County Board of Education and briefly describe your background and experience in education and student advocacy.
I'm really interested in the student trustee position because of my passion for education and student advocacy. I'm just gonna refer to these a little bit, just a couple bullet notes I'm in to keep myself on track. Just to talk about student advocacy and my background in that a little bit. I've been in ASB since middle school. It's something that I'm really passionate about, which obviously represents the student population, and it really matters to me to talk about the people that I represent and talk with them. A big position that really mattered to me last year that really taught me more in student advocacy was being the club's council chair. That basically is a position at my school that represents all of the clubs on campus. We have more than 40, I believe. And so I was in charge of communicating with them. I learned the ins and outs of a lot of paperwork through that and finances, which taught me a lot. And then I also learned how to communicate with admin and teachers and other students, which was really important to me. I'm about to step into a position this year of leading student senate, where we take one non-ASB student who wants to have their voice heard, and we bring them in a tutorial and they get to talk about what issues matter to them. And we try to bring that into what we do in ASB, which I think is really cool. And then to talk about my passion for education. Ever since I was really little, I wanted to work in education. I always played teacher as a kid, so that's where it comes from for me. My mom has been a teacher as long as I can remember. And because of her, I ended up walking with the COE at Pride, where I was convinced to eventually sign up for the Student Trustee Academy, which I participated in over the summer. And that helped kind of prepare me for this position, but it also furthered my passion for education and advocacy, so.
Thank you. Thank you. Williams.
Thank you for your interest, Zola. Welcome. Please provide an example of a specific initiative or project you would like to work on as a student trustee, and why is it important to you?
A specific initiative, I kind of want to talk about my goal first, which would be what's important to me, and that's fostering community is something that really matters to me inside of this position if I were to get it and out. Something that I would be really passionate about if the COE doesn't have it already is making a council of trustees. So I didn't see it on the website, but if it isn't a thing, I'd really like to implement that. And if it is a thing, it would be something I'm really passionate about. We have it at PVUSD where our student trustee speaks with representatives from each high school. So it would be really cool to have the student trustee at the county level talk with all the student trustees from the districts and kind of hear about the opinions and thoughts so that we can take that and bring that to meetings here. I would also, to foster community, I want to attend school events at all the different schools and get to know more people. I love getting to know people, so that's something that would really matter to me. Maybe create a new countywide event or advertise the ones that we already have more. Participation would be really amazing to hear from students. And yeah, establish open communication with students would be a big goal of mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Third question is, can you share an example of a challenging situation you faced in a leadership role and how you handled it?
One challenge I faced in a leadership role was last year I stepped into junior vice president as a position, and every single year the junior president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer are in charge of planning prom for the juniors and seniors that year. And I stepped into this position with a totally blank slate, whereas every other year we did the same tradition of going to Coconut Grove on a Saturday, and event planners kind of got a little bit messed up at the boardwalk. They switched over that year. And so we started with a totally blank slate. We had nothing. So we kind of had to start thinking outside the box. And eventually we had this big debate on whether or not we wanted to go to Gilroy Gardens, which was this idea that I had fell in love with. And so I was like, we got to do this, but there was busing issues. A lot of people didn't want to take a bus since it was out of district. So the two main ideas were either Gilroy Gardens and we bus, or we go to Coconut Grove on a Friday, which was totally against what a lot of people wanted. So it became this big ASB debate, and the challenge was really trying to step outside of myself and what I really wanted, and hearing everybody else's thoughts and opinions, and trying to really think about what everybody wanted as a group rather than what I wanted, which was a big challenge for me. But eventually, me and the prom planning committee, there was only 4 of us, and we were both very split. So we ended up opening communication to all of the juniors and seniors, and we sent out a form and a lot of emails and begged them to tell us their opinions and their thoughts and what they wanted at prom. And we took that into consideration, and that's eventually how we ended on the decision where we got Coconut Grove on a Friday. But we did have to open it up to everybody and hear everyone's thoughts and opinions, and that was really eye-opening for me.
Thank you. And for the last question, we have Dr. Sabah.
I have the next question, Zilla. How would you gather input and feedback from your fellow students to ensure their voices are represented on the board, in particular students who are currently underrepresented?
Since, like I said earlier, one of my biggest goals would be fostering community, getting feedback and creating open communication would be really, really important to me. And I know how it feels to be underrepresented in big decisions because of how I identify and who I am. I don't usually see people like me in those big positions. And so that would be something that I would really want to focus on. I would love to collaborate with like chapters like MSAs at schools, GSAs and ASBs, obviously. But something that I would be really passionate about, because forms are really long and lengthy to fill out, and a lot of people kind of just barely look them over. Something that I would be really passionate about doing is maybe virtual like meetings with any student who would be interested, in sending that out through their student trustees and having that as an option to talk to me about their opinions and their stuff that I could bring to the next board meeting. So virtual listenings and like meetings where we could all get together and I could really hear everyone's thoughts and opinions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, we have finished the 4 questions that we have for the interview process. We want to thank you again for taking the time and for interviewing for the student trustee position. You may join Mr. Ortiz to join the other students while we interview our last student.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The next student we will be interviewing is Vicente. So again, Vicente is the next student that we'll be interviewing. We did have a 6th student, Zay, that withdrew.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Good afternoon, welcome. We will start the interview process with the first question from Trustee Roth.
Buried it.
Hello, good afternoon.
Could you please tell us why you were interested in serving as a student trustee on the County Board of Education, and briefly describe your background and experience in education and student advocacy?
Yeah, I want to serve as a student trustee because I want to elevate youth voices. I'm exhausted of people seeing youth like background characters in conversations that are really about us. I know what it feels like to sit in a classroom and watch decisions roll down from above that completely change our lives, yet we had nothing to say in them. That doesn't sit right with me. I believe students deserve more than a token voice. We deserve a seat at the table where choices are made. My passion comes from seeing the struggles that so many of my peers face, from lack of resources to feeling invisible in a system that doesn't always reflect their needs. I've been that student who wonders if anyone is listening, and I've also been the one to stand up and speak when it felt uncomfortable. I want to be a student trustee because I believe in fighting for equity, for fairness, and for the idea that every student from every single school has the right to be heard. And some experience that I have in being a youth leader is I'm the current president and the previous president of a group called Empower Watsonville, and we help youth with substance use and mental health. And I'm also the YRVP lead for Empower Watsonville. And currently I'm teaching parents positive discipline. So I got connections and I was able to teach positive discipline while taking classes of positive discipline as well.
Thank you. Next, we have Larson.
Welcome, and here's the second question. Please provide an example of a specific initiative or project you would like to work on as a student trustee and why it is important to you.
If given this opportunity, I would advocate for stronger mental health support across all schools in the county. Every student faces stress, pressure, or personal struggles, but not everyone has the same access to help. I've seen friends try to carry those battles quietly, and it hurts to know they felt so alone. It's gotten to the point where in my school, 3 boys have lost their life due to the